Well, hey everybody, Geezer Tony here once again. Today I have a special video. We're not going to be playing golf at all. It's Christmas season, and this year I decided to get myself a special Christmas present. So I've documented what I did. Say I got a simulator, and it was a long, arduous process of getting a building to put it in and getting it set up and getting it working. It took us a long time. I had a lot of help from my good friend Augie. So this video is a documentation of how all that went. It's not that long. I didn't want to bore you with watching everything, just some clips of each step along the way. So anyway, let's get started with the video, and later on I'm sure I'll be making some videos in there on the simulator too. So for me it was just a way to have some golf related activity when it's cold, because I'm a southern boy and I don't like the cold. So anyway, let's go on to the video and see this process of from start to finish of getting my own golf simulator.
So the first thing that needed to happen, since I was going to get a golf simulator, was I needed a place to put it. I don't have a garage, and my ceilings in my house certainly aren't tall enough, and I don't have room there anyway. So I thought, well, let me go down to the Durabuilt Sheds location here in Sanford, North Carolina, and see what they've got to offer. So we walked around and looked at, they had just tons of buildings here, among other things. And we looked at, they let us walk around and just look on our own. We looked at several different kinds of buildings, and this one here is called a lofted barn, which appeared to have a tall enough ceiling that a simulator would work in there. So we walked into some 12 footers, knowing that they weren't wide enough, but we just wanted to see what the building looked like in there, and they were pretty well built. Finally, we find a 14 wide, although it's 40 feet deep, and we don't need that, but we could at least get a look at the 14 wide, and more about the 14 wide later. This appeared, I went in and I measured some things, and it appeared to be usable for my needs. And since they didn't have one like I needed on the lot, I had to go in and place an order. So I ordered a 14 by 20, which seemed to be, long enough and wide enough. And they come with a loft in them. I told them to leave the loft out of the back and only give me 7 feet of loft.
Okay, so we came out here to Durabuilt Sheds and other things that they sell to find a building that will be suitable. They ended up ordering one because they didn't have what I needed. So it's going to take 4 or 5 weeks to get it, which will be around Christmas. It's going to be 14 by 20 with a lofted roof, and I'm having it pre-wired and a couple of windows. So for now, all I can do is wait until they deliver it, but this is the beginning of the process.
So back at home, now I've got to determine where I want to put this building. And I checked around. We have a 4 acre property, so there's room. It's just finding the right place for it. So I found a good place here over to the side of the house that was going to have some sun on the building this time of year. You can see that. And in the summer, it's going to be up under a lot of trees and it would be in the shade. So that would help with the temperature in there, although, I have to supplement heat right now. But so I had to clear that out a bit. There was no major work done, and to be honest, I did all that before I thought about videoing it. So I'm finishing up here, what you see, and I've got to take these bushes out, which are down here in the south. We call them yellow bells. They're the first things that bloom in the spring. So I got all that done, and now I'm just stepping it off both ways to make sure it's big enough for the building. And I get 18 feet across and I get 24 feet deep. So that's plenty of room. It gives me at least 2 feet all the way around to walk around the building if I need to. So I did got all that cleared, and then I didn't show this, but I got my leaf blower out, and I blew everything away that I could. And lo and behold, the building shows up after about 2.5 weeks, unexpected. So it's a good thing I did get all that done early. Well, it didn't just show up, they called me, but I was ready for it. So it comes up the driveway, my quarter-mile long driveway, on an 18-wheeler. And how he got that thing turned back around, I'll still never believe, but he did. He dropped the building there in the driveway and got his little, he called it a mule. It's basically a portable forklift. He raised it up there, put some temporary wheels under the front, and he's going to go around to the back, raise that up, and put it in place with that mule. So here he comes up the driveway and getting it into place. He's going to take a left, or for him a right turn there, and just drive it right into the spot that I made for it, which is straight ahead in the camera. And then he took the time to level it, make sure everything was just so. And he also scraped 4 pieces of the tin roof coming up the driveway. So he came back a couple of days later and replaced that. The Durabuilt was very good, and the delivery was very good about all that. So he got it in place, and now I ordered the screen, the studio they call it, with the screen and everything, ahead of the actual launch monitor. Get that put up first. And so we have started putting that up. We've got the green mat out. We're starting to put up the frame for they call it the studio. I call it the screen and the vinyl enclosure. And it's pretty well labeled. I really liked how they had it. The instructions for putting that together were pretty good. So we're moving right along here, assembling this thing, and in a moment we're going to say, whoops, Houston, we have a problem. So you'll see that in just a minute when we start looking down the sides. So what the problem is that I did not know that a 14-foot wide building was not 14 feet wide. It's kind of like a 2x4. It's not 2 inches by 4 inches. It makes no sense, but the inside of the building only measured approximately 12.5 feet. So I determined I was going to have to shorten the screen. I'm back in here that night putting on 2 sweatshirts because it's 16 degrees and I'm cold. I shortened those pipes, and I'm back in here to try to assemble it. You can see I have a heater on. I put the pipes in front of the heater to warm them up so they wouldn't make my hands go numb. So I shortened about 8 to 9 inches the whole frame, which is going to make the screen be 9 feet 4 inches tall instead of 10. No big deal, except that the screen is made for 10 inches, so there's going to be some loose hanging at the bottom. Not a huge problem. So I'm looking at the instructions, trying to figure out again how to put this thing together. And here we go. I finally get the back frame up, and now I realize there's another problem. These angled beams are a little bit in the way. So I've got 2 choices. I can either lower it some more, which I don't really want to do, or I can notch 2 of those on each side, those cross beams or the ones at an angle. That's what I decided to do because I didn't want to shorten it any further. So here I missed doing that, but we took the rug up, or the mat up, and I didn't want to get sawdust and all in everything, and we did cut the notches out. Now we're sweeping the sawdust and everything out of the way, and we're gonna put this back together here in just a minute. And I had to do a little bit more trimming, but for the most part it worked. We got it together, and I didn't get on video us putting the screen and the vinyl material up for the hitting bay, but that was a royal pain because we could not get to the outside to do any work. So we had to struggle and strain to do it from the inside on top, and it was just really hard. Well, we got it, and it seems like it's going to work okay. So now I'm opening the projector. Well, actually, that's what I bought was a Garmin R50, the new one, and that has arrived. So I'm just taking that out of the box and going to set it over to the side, not even going to try to turn it on or anything yet. And it will work independently without the screen. You can take that to the range with you or hit into a net and it'll give you your readings. But for now, I'm just putting it aside. I'm still trying to assemble the rest of this thing. We don't have the projector up yet. And so I think the next box I'm opening is the projector. And it's going to go on that piece of pole or pipe just up above my head. That's where it mounts to. Now, I didn't get a shot of this, but I laid on the floor for about an hour, maybe an hour and a half, trying to figure out how to put the mounting bracket and everything on. The instructions were not very clear at all. So that was a pain. We finally got that mounted up there. Now you can see it up there. And we finally get a picture on it. We hook it up, and because the projector's upside down, the picture's upside down, and we couldn't figure out how to turn it over. Again, the instructions are not very clear to us anyway. Probably my 13-year-old grandson could have done it in 2 minutes, but so I'm on the phone there with, I'm gonna call it tech support. Oh, we finally got it. Tech support being another friend of mine who is very good with electronics. So we got the picture flipped over finally, and now all we got to do is just make some final adjustments and tighten things up. And then I'm going to have to run cables. I had to go buy some extension cords and what have you, and some tie downs, and I ran the cable straight up to the ceiling and then around the beams. You'll see that in another picture in just a minute. It looks pretty neat, neat job. And we get this thing kind of working, and now we realize that because of my miscalculation, and we had to lower the bar there, that I have to stand, or we have to stand farther away from the thing to swing. So now I've got to make some more room. So I've got to cut some of this loft out of the way for the backswing. So I did that. We got that. You're going to see a picture from the opposite side here of how I cut it out. And now I'm going to rebrace that half up to the rafters there with another 2x4 just to help support any weight I may put up there. And then, so I got that done. And then we put a brace across the beams on the top there where I'd cut a notch out of. I felt like I weakened it, and it was probably fine, but I just felt better supporting it, resupporting it. So we got that done, and that was pretty easy. And now it's time to see if we've got room to swing. And I don't think anybody any taller than me or much taller than me will ever be in here. There'll be no lefties because you see this overhang of the loft here would be where a lefty would need to stand. So we finally got the thing turned on. We don't know how to operate it yet. We're just goofing around with it. And I thought after all this work, I'd get a couple shots of us swinging a club in here with the screen on, because this process took us a good 4 or 5 days with all the modifications to the building and the poles and not understanding the instructions and so forth. It took us a good 4 or 5 days. I mean, we didn't work all day, but we worked probably from 11 or 12 till dark each day, and maybe past dark a litting bit. So I just hit the shot here, and now I'm going to hit a tee shot. We're showing a golf course, but we're not really playing. We're just goofing around here. And this is going to be close to the end of the video, but I would just like to say that it was a tough, aggravating process, but we got it done. And be looking for some videos from inside the I'm going to call it the Geezer's Golf Barn. Looking for some videos in the future from inside there. So for now, this is Geezer Tony signing off till next time.